What's going on, guys? Sincere here with whoissincere.com, Anon Radio Live, and the All Rights Matter show. Listen, this is actually going to be a rather difficult video for me to do because it's so much information, so I'm going to warn you now. If you're not ready for it, press pause and watch it later. This is a lot of information, but it's information that you need to know because there's been a lot of misinformation going on, and all of the clues, which are actually facts, are actually right there in the open for you to see. So I'm going to point it out to you and show you how a Joint Terrorism Task Force agent was able to infiltrate the Oregon movement and have communication about what's going on in the inside with local law enforcement, the FBI, and the governor's office, Governor Kate Brown. So before we get started on that, though, I want to address a couple things. First and foremost, I kind of want to address the issue here dealing with there's been a lot of speculation as far as who's a federal agent and all of this stuff, and I'm actually about to show you a real informant / agent, and and I think that it's really dangerous for us to mimic the rhetoric that's out there, so we have to be more careful about that. I've been seeing a lot of that going on. I've actually had fun with a couple trolls playing with them, about some of this stuff because it's ridiculous. The amount of information that's actually out there that you can access regarding this is, it's a lot. It's a lot of information you can access, but if you access it, you can, easily start to find what the truth is. So there's a few things that are still questionable and hidden in this situation, and of course there's some psyops that the government had going on. This whole situation had many different moving layers and parts to it. So was it a real situation that happened at the at the refuge there? Yes, it was real. But let me address a couple of these things here. Lavoy could have prevented his own death. Now I know that's going to come as a shocker to some people. How could you say that? Well, let me explain. There's a lot of people that say, well, where was PPN? Where was the Idaho 3%ers? Where was the Oregon 3%ers? Where was any of the 3% organizations or anybody under the PPN umbrella? And this is what I say to that. It doesn't matter who was under what umbrella and who was providing what detail or what buffer. They still didn't make Lavoy speed off when he was being initially apprehended. We have to tell the facts as they are. So there was nobody that could have stopped Lavoy from doing that except Lavoy himself. Now, did he know he was going to speed off into, a death trap? Absolutely not, or else he wouldn't have done it. So we have to take it a step further. Nobody made Lavoy jump out of the car, but we understand why, because he was being fired upon. So these are all actions that Lavoy took himself. Now, were the FBI wrong for shooting? They were dead wrong for shooting him. Dead wrong. That should not have happened. Okay? But when we say that, a group or another individual is responsible for someone's death when they've clearly taken actions to put themselves in harm's way, that's not true accountability. And we have to give true accountability to the issue. He died for what he believed in, and he died being a patriot. Were his actions a little erratic at the end by, driving off from being apprehended? That's up for questioning. That's up for debate. That's, all perception based. So that, that's kind of how that works. So when we talk about, Lavoy, we have to tell the whole story about Mr. Finicum. he did press down the gas pedal. He did speed off, initially when being stopped. And unfortunately, he ran into a death trap. So let's not blame that on the Idaho 3%ers. Let's not blame that on Brandon Curtis. I'm just seeing a lot of that. We're going to address that here in this video. Let's not blame that on PPN or the Oregon 3%ers or anybody else. It's not their fault. It really isn't. No detail could have stopped that. You could have had a tank out there on side of on side of them. If Lavoy wanted to press that gas pedal down and keep going, well, that's what he was going to do. And that's what he did. All right. Let's also talk about this. The Final Four were up there. They said a lot of things in the live feed, and they questioned the loyalty of the PPN and the Idaho 3%ers that were providing the buffer support. But I think, what got lost in the narrative is this key thing. And, I like anybody that challenged me on it, is the fact that Anon told the Final Four to stand down. We all seem to have forgotten that Anon was the leader of this occupation of the refuge. So if the leader tells you to stand down and not to take up arms against the law enforcement, he's saying that he doesn't agree with what's going on. Just because armed men occupy the space doesn't mean that it was an armed takeover. But when you have an armed standoff, that was nothing that was planned. There was no armed standoff that was planned. Where there are erratic people in the video saying, some crazy, rhetoric from time to time, yes, there were. But that's not what you heard out of Annon's mouth. You never heard that kind of, wild talk or anything like that. Not at all. So it's funny how we can ignore what the leadership says and we can watch the actions of a few and place that on the whole group. I think that's unfair judgment. I think that's very unfair. So if I remember correctly, and if I'm sure the rest of you listening to this remember correctly, Anon told them to stand down. They did not do that. They did it when they got ready to, which was weeks later. Okay? So, the PPN is not responsible for the actions of four. Now, they said that they would stay there in the community to support, which they have done. The PPN and the Idaho 3%ers and other organizations that also fall under PPN. So, we forget that, what this really all boils down to is the fact that these organizations are not offensive organizations, they're defensive organizations. Now people say, oh, well, they failed at defending, to keep Lavoy alive. Well, like I just initially stated, that's not true. There's no PPN, no big, tall, muscle dude in PPN that was going to, break Lavoy's foot off and make him take his foot off the gas from speeding off. That's not logical. The same outcome would have happened if they would have had four cars for protection. The same outcome would have happened. So that's what I'm telling you. We have to be careful about what we put out there because it's easy to get caught up in the in the conspiracies and stuff like that. I've been there before. Trust me, I understand it. It's easy to get caught up in that, but it's more responsible to do a little bit of digging, to do a little bit of research, and to find out what's really going on. Now, with that being said, let's also clear up something else. One more thing, and this is really short. Federal agents and informants don't sit in prison. That's how it works. You give a little info, You get a little bit of leeway. Okay? That's how it works. And that's if you've committed a crime. Now, the federal informants and the agents who are a part of being, embedded on the inside, no, they don't go to jail. They don't go to prison. And if they do, they get right out because it's all just, for show. So we need to remember that as we watch these men that, are American citizens that are sitting in prison. Nobody chooses to sit in prison, guys. It's not a great choice, For any of you that have ever been to jail or prison, I've been to jail before, and I'll tell you that it's not a fun place. No fun times in jail. None. Terrible food. The beds are horrible. Listen, I'm telling you now, don't drive in the state of New Jersey if, you're driving, the privileges are suspended. I learned the hard way, and I will never do that again. So, I'm telling you, these gentlemen are not in jail because they want to be in jail because they're informants or agents. So we need to stop with that. That's just not even logical. And there's a bunch of other reasons, but I just wanted to put that out there. All right. Thank you for letting me get those few things off the list. Now, let's really get to why you're here. Now, what is the Joint Terrorism Task Force? Okay. I'll make sure I'll leave a page down below for that. Here I brought up the Portland division for you guys so we can keep it relative to the conversation here. And this is actually where our informant is actually going to be out of. Our informant we're going to be exposing here today. Now, it's amazing to me that I'm seeing names, like Brandon Curtis float around the internet, and we have about 10 hours of documented interviews with him that anybody could check out, and you can easily see, what's really been going on. We've been going step by step, since the beginning, and pretty much exposing the truth on the ground as far as what's happening with the federal agents are doing, what the government is doing, the local government there, the sheriff and the chief. I'm sorry, but we've done a lot of work with Brandon Curtis, and we thank him for that. But I see a lot of terrible things floating around, and I've been able to identify the source of a lot of these terrible things. And if you guys are going with that rhetoric and saying bad things about Brandon Curtis based off of what you heard, I'm letting you know now you're following the information from an informant, from FBI sources. That's what's going on, guys, and I'm going to prove it to you. Okay, let's keep going. All right. First of all, I'm going to leave a link to this page here so you guys can go to the Portland Division. This is what the Portland Joint Terrorism Task Force is made of. State Police, Police Department, Sheriffs, IRS, Department of Justice, you name it, they're there. All there. DHS, counterterrorism, working groups, all of these folks right here. You'll notice that the BLM is down there. Secret Service is on there. You name it, they're on there. DEA, everybody, everybody is on there. Oh, there you go. Even the Child Exploitation Task Force. Now, see, work like that, that's good work. That's work that, they should be concentrating on a lot more, because a lot of that is happening in this country, and it's being ignored because they're out here doing psyops, playing with people, and acting up. Yet, kids are being abducted all over the place. It's disgusting what happens in our country. It really is. It just gets under my skin. All right. So this informant that we're actually going to be exposing, let's let me see here. I'm going to be playing some footage for you because it's going to be in his own words so that you guys can actually hear it. from his own mouth, him saying what he's actually done here at the refuge. And we'll go ahead and do it like that. Give me 1 second here to find the tab. Okay, now this is our informant. He is a celebrity. So let's get right to it. His name is Kevin Pruitt, maybe, I don't know. But Kevin. And his middle name is Patrick. I'm not going to read through all of this crap. I'm going to tell you what it is. You see his name there. You see it says celebrity and when he was born. This is all a self-written, biography. It's a biography that he wrote, for a celebrity site. Now, it's, people write biographies for the websites and stuff like that for themselves all the time, so it's a normal thing. It's just normal when you call yourself, it's abnormal when you call yourself a celebrity. And that's a little bit weird, so I think most would agree, coming from a guy that's in the Patriot movement, is that, I don't know. I'll let you decide on that. But I think it's funny because someone commented on this before, and, they said that, does anyone know out there any info about the new movie Kevin Pruitt is involved with? He is kind of young in his career and not well known yet, but I am hoping to find out some info. I saw one of his comedy shows back in 2004 and would love to find other projects he's been in. Thanks, everyone. So this is supposedly a troll comment that was put out there when he was putting out information a while ago that he was in movies and that he was a celebrity, hence this profile. And I'll make sure I'll drop links below. But this is this is giving you an idea of the kind of character that you're dealing with. Okay? This is the kind of person that you're dealing with here. This is a person that's seeking fame. This is a person that obviously they want acting credentials, so maybe he's a very good actor, and that's why he's able to be an informant for the Joint Terrorism Task Force. So he also has a very shady past here. He's been involved in other mining, situations there, the Sugar Pine Mine situation, with other ranching situations, where he's stolen the donations. And this is not too long ago. This is as of recent, and there's updates you can see here. I'll leave links for that as well. There's just a lot of bad information out here about this guy. Plenty of rip-off reports. He takes your money, all kinds of stuff, man. I mean, you don't find many people lower than this guy, and be honest with you. It's just, I don't understand how people cannot recognize his face and immediately call him out and say, get him out of here. Why is he here? Okay? So let's keep going. All right, bear with me. Okay. Alright, now I'm just going to, bear with me here. I'm going to play these clips for you. I hope that you can hear them clearly. It's going to be a series of clips probably over the next, about 20 minutes or so. But it's going to give us all the information that we need for this video. So, you'll be able to take this information and know what's real, okay? So this is in Kevin's own words. Here we go. And this is an interview that he did on Freedom Slips. I guess that's through Revolution Radio.
Picture of your hat, you and your hat, your sunglasses.
Yeah, that's, I think by law I'm not allowed to show too much of my face, too ugly. But anyways, I do some contract work with the military, and I was trying to reach a peaceful solution here regarding the whole standoff issue, and I was in Governor Brown's office trying to reach some sort of a compromise to get a line of communication started between her office and Ammon Bundy, and that message never went through. Unfortunately, I was there when the assault took place. I saw a bit of dash cam footage, fairly quickly by a state trooper. They had fears that there was going to be protest or even a little bit of violence around the Capitol building.
Sorry, we just had some echo feedback because I got a couple other computers started. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, so I was really just in disbelief of everything. I mean, I was sent there by the Joint Terrorism Task Force initially to Burns, and they wanted to see, kind of get an idea of who was there, what was going on, and what was told to me anyways was they had word that there were some individuals there that just wanted violence no matter what, and they wanted my opinion. I kind of thought that was odd. I had asked them repeatedly, you've got to have somebody on the inside.
All right, stand by. Let's step back for a second. Explain Joint Intelligence Task Force for everybody that has no clue.
Joint Terrorism Task Force is a combination of agencies, whether it's law enforcement, Oregon State Police, military, FBI. It could be any combination, really. Law enforcement get together and strictly deal with terrorism-related issues.
Right, and so, I don't consider any of this terrorism. How would terrorism be? Have they already identified these or tried to identify these guys out there at the refuge as terrorists, and that's why they wanted to bring you in?
Yeah, they had a few of them. They weren't sure if they were there or not. Like I said, they wanted to know who was there, but apparently they do have some that were on a watch list, labeled as domestic terrorists. They said there were a few people that they felt wanted to start a fight no matter what, and just wanted to know who was there. Like I said, I thought it was odd. Every time I'd ask about them having anybody there on the inside or anything, they would tell me, no, we have nobody. We're getting everything off YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, the interesting thing is they forgot. It seems like half the time they forgot there is an internet, and the rest of the time they're using it to their advantage.
Right.
So anyway,
yeah, double-edged sword, sure.
Yeah. So anyway, you're in the governor's office, doing what when all this went down?
Well, I went there. I had caught wind roughly 48 hours before the assault took place. I was in contact with Congressman Schrader's office, who got me in touch with Governor Brown's office. They wanted me to go in and reach a line of communication. I was told I had 48 hours, so obviously I took that as 48 hours there's going to be a raid. And
right.
On day two, I went to the governor's office to try to do something because Ammon Bundy wasn't getting my messages. There was nobody denied anybody anything at that point from my involvement. It's just we weren't able to connect. So I went to the governor's office in hopes of, having a little bit of an extension here to try to make one more push to reach out to him. And my plan was actually just to drive there and show up. I was told, no, you don't want to do that. Too late. And then it happened.
Right. And so
All right, guys. So there was a brief 4-minute section there for you just to hear in his own words what his duties were when he actually, got to his assignment, pretty much. So, he works out of the Portland Division for the Portland Joint Terrorism Task Force. This is where he receives his assignment from. He gets into the area. He gets among the ranchers, among those who are rallying, and he's sending messages, back and forth. This is what he's doing. This is what he's telling you, that he's pretty much up to. So, you're going to hear more about, how he was doing it in this next clip coming up. But, I think it's just really important to note that when somebody is telling you in a live interview that, you know, they were sent there, you know, by the government pretty much to monitor and to send intelligence back regarding the status of what's going on, I think that's fair to assume we know that person's role and what they're there for. Okay? So, you know, there was a lot of questions, well, who's an agent and who's this and who's an informant? You clearly have an informant right here in Kevin, and no one's talking about it. So that's why I'm doing this video, to expose what's going on. This is real, guys. This is a real person that's telling you exactly what he did. He's stolen before. He gets close to the higher ups within movements, and he causes disruption. That's what he does. He causes disruption, and then he feeds intelligence back. He's what the internet would call a provocateur. That's who this guy is. So you don't see me doing many videos about ordinary guys. Well, this guy is not very ordinary. And that's why I'm doing the video, to expose who he really is and the misinformation that he's putting out there to mislead the public into believing these narratives that either don't exist or aren't real, you know, or slanted. So, you know, we're going to keep going though. Let's try to find the next section here. I want to actually let you guys listen to the part where he's talking about being embedded, you know, with the ranchers and his contacts back and forth.
I have some
So we try to bring that up for you here.
And just observe, see who's there, see if they're there.
I don't just got it.
Pardon me, guys.
At that point, let's go all the way back to the day you arrived at Burns, and I'm just going to shut up unless I hear something I need to stop and clarify. And I want you to tell your story from the very beginning, why you were there, what happened you were there, all the way to the time that you left Oregon. You're out of Oregon now, or on your way out, right?
Yes, yeah, I'm on my way out.
All right, so let's just get the entire detailed story from you,
That's
and
a lie.
then we'll take some calls.
Okay, well, like I had said, I was asked by a member of the Joint Terrorism Task Force in Portland to go out and just observe, see who's there, see if the rumors are true, if there was anybody that were looking to incite any type of violence, not keep things peaceful. When I arrived the day of the main protest for the Hammonds, which seemed to be a lost name and all this, a forgotten name, everything was going great. It was a nice, peaceful protest. And about a half hour before anything happened, I had gotten word that the small group was going to go off and do something. I had no idea what. At that point, I did contact the guy over at Joint Terrorism Task Force via text message, and I said, "Hey, something's going to go down. I don't know what, but anybody you have on the ground here, you might want to alert them." And then when they were making their way to the refuge, fairly close to it, I let them know these guys are en route somewhere. Again, I had no idea where they were going. I heard nothing back. Several hours later, when they had already occupied the refuge, I contacted him yet again and said, "Have you seen the news? You know what's happening?" And he said, "Yes, I just saw it. I just found out." And I said, "Well, why didn't you do anything? Why didn't you stop them?" I got no reply. Later on that evening, for a brief time, everybody had left for a real short period of time. I contacted him yet again and said, "Hey, if you want to stop this, just send some people over, lock the doors. You know, simple as that. Everyone's gone." And nothing. I heard nothing until the next morning. And it was just kind of chaotic then. It was the impression that I got no one knew what was going on. It was just a complete debacle. debacle. I mean, it was unbelievable to watch. It was very unorganized from my point. From the area that I was in, nobody was listening to anybody. Nobody was working together. Who knows? I mean, maybe they really didn't have anybody on the ground at that point. But, obviously they did later on. That's for sure.
All right, guys. You get to hear it yourself. This guy, he's obviously embedded with the rally, the folks at the rally, with the protesters, the occupiers. He's delivering information back. And this is out of his own mouth, guys. I don't have to work hard to expose this. This is easy. Okay, so I'm giving you the whole character analysis of who this wannabe celebrity, wannabe actor guy is, who steals money from ranchers, but works with the government and embeds close to the higher ranking people, within the organization. Like how he was trying to get close to Ammon, but he couldn't get close to Ammon. Okay? All he would have been doing is feeding information back to the governor's office. This is what we're dealing with. Okay? You need to understand. This is what you have. All right. Now, I have a whole list of things, and I doubt that I'm actually going to go through this whole list because it's so much. You actually got the main parts just listening to it right there, but we'll go over a couple more things here. Let me see. Oh, there's actually a great part in this interview that I want you guys to hear. It's where, one of the callers actually, they had a little bit of sense about them, and they were listening to Kevin speak, and he was sympathetic to the FBI and to federal law enforcement, and the fact that they were doing a good job. And, that didn't fly with a lot of the listeners, of course, because, this is right after Lavoy was killed, and to have this man saying this, it's terrible. I've been sitting on this for a while and just kind of waiting to see how this thing unfolds, and I'm surprised that it hasn't blown up and went a lot further than what it has. So it lets me know that an agent can get on live air, speak to thousands of patriots, can hear his voice, and still nobody identifies him. Clearly identifies him on a massive level that this is one of the main infiltrators of the movement. And this is not his first time striking, if you will. So here we go again, where he comes into the movement. He gives information to the outside. Things are dismantled. There's chaos. There's corruption. There's, all kinds of things going on when you involve these informants within movements. That's their job, to distract. That's their job, to give information. That's their job, to cause, tension and dissension. So that's what we're seeing here. So let's listen to this educated caller, an older gentleman that was actually...
Well, one can hope. So I know she was very...
got online here. He was very good.
Have you heard the interview from the two girls that were in the vehicle?
Yes, I have.
And you're trying. I'm not trying to be confrontational. All right, but I just want to pin you down on this. When you make a blatant statement like that, you're saying that the FBI used restraint, and in the meantime, the fellow that picked the vehicle up, the wrecking agency, said that the truck looked like it was a piece of Swiss cheese. Now, if you call that restraint, then I have to say, and I'm being respectful here, I have to say that your credibility is in extreme doubt, in my opinion, because that to me is not restraint. Those people, if they would have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, they would have had just as much chance of surviving in that vehicle
You know, that's what kind of calls this man was getting. And that's why I'm surprised that this didn't go a lot more viral and folks, got it out there. I think people were more upset with what he was saying than the fact of who he is and really piecing together the full picture in their head. So that's what I'm doing for you guys. I'm taking, the small parts out of a rather long interview to show you guys that, here goes one of your informants right here. He's working to spread misinformation. He's working, for the opposition, and he's posing as a patriot. He didn't come to the refuge, to stand with the patriots. That's not why he came to the refuge. He came to the refuge because he was asked to by the Joint Terrorism Task Force. What does that tell you about this individual? Okay? So, let's keep moving right along. Let's see. We have another little interesting part here. He was just saying that he was headed out of Oregon, and you may have heard me in the background saying lie. And I'm going to show you why I actually said that, because he says where he lives.
As they would have if they jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge. And when I hear somebody say that, I don't care who it was, whether it's
Alright, let me see. Sorry guys, let me try to
Oregon, so they go to
Where's our military approach to that?
Well, that's a tricky one. I mean, I can actually speak as far as where I live in Salem. There has been an ambulance come.
Alright guys, where did he just say he lived? As far as where I live in Salem. Okay? So how is he leaving Oregon if he lives in Salem? You see what I'm saying, guys? It's the little lies that you catch. Now, that was about an hour apart. But, you sit here and you study what people say, and you take notes. That's what I do. I have a notepad right beside me, and I took about, I don't know, maybe 8 pages of notes. So, when people get tripped up in little things like that, these are people that have things to hide. They have shady lifestyles. They can't answer questions straight. And, we're going to go even, we'll go even a little bit further, okay? Let me show you what a direct attack from one of these informants looks like. See if we can pull that up. All right, this is Kevin's Facebook account. Now let's read it together. Notice to all, I have messaged both Brandon Curtis, aka Richard Fennelly. We went over that in the video. He had his name changed because of the marriage situation growing. Anyway, we went over that in the video. And Brooke Agresta for the last 2 days, warning them of this event, but more importantly, offer them a peaceful resolution and have screenshots to prove that. I was met with threats and an unwillingness to make an attempt at peace. Lavoy Finicum would still be alive had they had listened, but this is indeed exactly how they wanted it to play out. How soon will they start calling for donations which will line their pockets? I have not forgotten about you, Joseph Rice. Blackwater and the CIA will not be there to bail you out this time, as they shouldn't. I am very saddened by the bloodshed and did try to prevent it, and yes, Brandon, it is time to point fingers. You are not a true patriot, and a true patriot should and will stand down. I have seen the video footage and the officers were fired upon first. That is a fact, and dash cams do not lie. Let's read that again. I have seen the video footage and the officers were fired upon first. That is a fact, and dash cams do not lie. Let's just stop there. Now, if you even wanted to start believing anything that was before that, when you get to that one sentence alone, you realize what kind of person you're dealing with. I have seen the video footage, and the officers were fired upon first. That is a fact, and dash cams do not lie. Well, I don't know. Maybe drone cams lie. Maybe that's what happened. Drone cams lie. Okay? So, let's keep reading. You guys can see where I'm going with this. Patriots, do not let the actions of one or two fakes be the cause of more bloodshed. Ammon Bunny had a message, while Brandon, Joseph, and Brooke had and still has, if you allow them, an agenda. The man who just said that the officers were fired upon first is saying that others have an agenda. The man that's an informant, by his own words, from the what is that called? The Joint Task Force. There you go. Let's go back up to it. Joint Terrorism Task Force. Oh, sorry. There you go. Oh, and he has the nerve to have an anonymous background. Funny, right? This guy is one of the biggest trolls that I've seen that hasn't been completely thrown out yet, and I don't know why. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So, part of the Joint Terrorism Task Force, and he's talking about people have an agenda. This is what your informants are doing through the communities of activism that are out there that are peaceful and meaningful. They're causing dissension and tension. You just heard in his own words who sent him there, why he was there, what his duties were, his assignment, who he was reporting to, and you go on Facebook and you see this is how he's talking about people that were leaders in the community and helping out. Now, at the beginning of this video, we already went over it. There's nothing that Brandon Curtis could have done to save Lavoy Finicum. We know that. Smart people know that Lavoy made his own, decision by driving off and speeding off like that and jumping out of the car like that. Nobody forced Lavoy to do those things, and nobody could have stopped Lavoy from doing those things. Those are clear-cut, cold facts. Nobody could have stopped that. Lavoy is a grown man, and he made that decision. He died a patriot. And this idiot can't even spell his name right for him. So, you read the rest. He said something about filing some charges and, Brandon will delete this and all kinds of, just craziness. But these are the kind of people that get on the air and they say these crazy things and, people eat it up and they take it as fact and they say, well, I heard it online, it was on the internet, it must be true, or I heard it on this radio show, so I trust that radio show, and that guy must have been telling the truth. A few of the, smarter listeners actually picked up on who this guy was and said, wait a second, this is the same guy that's been involved in scandals since the beginning of time. How can we take anything that you say is valid and you've still written down here in the scam report is owing the Sugar Pine Mine people their money, their donation money? He vanished with the donation money. So that's another reason why I don't understand why people haven't found this guy yet. Now, it's unfortunate, that there's a person out there that's like that. And, the posts, they don't stop. Oh, I'll expose you. Their intelligence gathering and vetting of, the information that's out there wasn't good. And, all of this stuff. Oh, if they ask for donations, which well before this post, they were already asking for donations. My archive shows actually prove that, weeks before this guy is talking this craziness here. But, This is what people do that are provocateurs, people that come into a movement to cause dissension and tension. Now, through his words, he says he's there to try to cause peace. Through his own words, to try to provide a peaceful resolution. But yet you see provoking online. Provocateur. You understand? That's how this works, guys. I've been doing this long enough, and I'm showing you firsthand. I'm walking you through it. This is the ABCs of how to break this stuff down. So you got a guy that's on the Joint Terrorism Task Force sent there on official duty to help peacefully resolve a situation, quote unquote, and yet this is the kind of rhetoric that he's putting out to the public to cause misinformation and dissension among the ranks. It's a very concise attack. You have to think about what you're seeing, guys. You got to outsmart these people. You can't be, blind to, these little tricks that they pull. And trust me, he was not the only informant there. He may have been told he was, just so that he doesn't happen to cross paths with another one so they can keep their information separate and make sure that it's consistent. Okay? So at the end of the day, I'm sure there were other ones there, but this is just a really weird guy who's put himself in a really weird situation, and I think it's all because of his lust that he has for celebrity, for fame, what he's looking for as far as attention is concerned. And, maybe he thinks he's smarter than the average fox based on all those scam reports and ripoffs that he has. He thinks he's a pretty intelligent guy and he can just get over on people. But when you tell lies in the public domain and you put those lies out there and you can't control whether they're taken down or not, well, guess what? You're subject to be questioned about what you say. That's why it's, wise to use the words that you actually want to use. Maybe we don't succeed at that all the time. I'm guilty of it. I don't succeed at, saying what I want to say all the time. But this guy is purposely saying things that are, very contradictory to the reason why he states that he's there. And, especially being sent by the people that he's being sent by. But Kevin doesn't have too many problems. He says he doesn't have too many problems as far as anything is concerned. And really the only thing in his past is just really some ex-girlfriends. And I think we'll go over that little piece of clip so you can hear that lie out of his mouth for your own, for yourself. I like people to hear it right for themselves.
I've been tuning in now for the last few weeks and enjoyed what you're doing. There's a lot of people in the chat that want to know who is Kevin Pruitt. And because they're Googling his name and they're coming back with some not so good results. So I wanted to give him the opportunity to address that.
Oh, with pleasure. It comes down to, it's the internet. You're either going to believe it or not. I have no record of any kind. Never had a lawsuit. I had pissed off an ex-girlfriend or two, and as a result, I got that. Which, in the beginning, back then, it wasn't all that big of a deal. It wasn't a big thing. And then, anytime you look at somebody wrong or tick somebody off, they could just post anything they want. I could write anything about anybody and do the same thing to them. It's, I'll be honest, a few times I've actually wanted to do the same thing to those very people and show them, how it feels, what it's like, and I can't bring myself to do it.
Let's just stop the lies there. You can hear the lies, you can feel the lies. He speaks in the name of peace, but then, these are the things that he posts. Okay? All right? this is the information that he puts out from a person that saw it firsthand, from a person that was sent to infiltrate and send messages back. This is the information he puts out. All right? So, how reliable is this guy? And what is his real purpose? And I'm sure it's not peace. I'm feeling pretty certain that it's definitely not peace. All right. Well, let's actually, I'll actually want to wrap it up because I didn't want to go over an hour on this and I'm getting close to it now. But I'm going to drop links below for you guys so you can have all of this information on Kevin Prillis. You know, a member of the Joint Terrorism Task Force. He's telling you that firsthand. He's telling you what his actions were when he was there. He's telling you that he was sending messages back as Ammon and his followers were traveling back and forth. He's letting you know these things. Now, it's not a wild conclusion for me to draw to say that he could have even been, a possible person that could have tipped them off to the time that they left, or any of that could have been involved with their actual killing. So that's what these informants do. They go on these reconnaissance missions and they gather data and they bring that data back. And now they don't even have to really bring the data back, too much. They just, need a good pair of ears on the ground, or, somebody with a good cell phone and maybe a drone close by. Get all the data they need. So, and plus the live streaming, they're tapping everything live streaming and watching everything live streaming. So this is the kind of guy you're dealing with. Like I said, I'm not going to go over an hour on this guy. I'm going to go to one more part from him so that you can hear this little bit of lunacy. Now, and after everything you just heard him say about his involvement, why he was there, who sent them, pretty much what his mission was, I want you to hear this last piece of what Kevin decides to say exactly 1 hour, or almost exactly 1 hour after he stated what his initial mission was being there. This is what he decides to close out the conversation with.
Okay.
Give it 1 second.
All right. Well, I would like to say any involvement that I had out there wasn't part of any contract job or anything official. It was kind of confusing to me on why I was out there to begin with. But the whole thing is just sad. It should come to this. It's something that should be an eye opener for everybody to show everyone that we need to come together. That's the bottom line.
Do you guys hear that? Now, this is from the man that's being the informant. He's not there to come together with anybody. He's there to inform. He's there to impede. That's what he's sent there to do with the Joint Terrorism Task Force. But now he's telling you that he's not there in any kind of contract or official capacity, and that everybody needs to just come together. How did everyone miss this? How can you not see this? This is blatantly obvious. Blatantly obvious. Okay, this is a fake patriot. This is a fake American. This is somebody that's living in the shadows, moving in the shadows. And they're aligned with the forces that we're not aligned with. Those of us who really love liberty and who really love freedom and justice. Okay? So, if you support this guy, Kevin Pruis, or whatever his name is, and I forgot it again. I keep forgetting how to say his last name. But if you support this guy, Kevin, something's wrong with you. I'm just going to be honest with you. Something's obviously wrong with you. There's no way in hell that you should be supporting a person who is ruined all of this credibility. I mean, I just, I can keep going on with these notes, but like I said, this isn't going to go over an hour. I want you guys to get the word out about this. This guy's a crook. And if you keep letting crooks in your midst, you're going to keep getting the same results. This guy is a fame seeker. That's all he's doing. He's telling you where he works from. He's telling you who he works with. Okay? If you don't understand, you guys have to get a clue here. So let's get this information out there very far and wide. If you have any information that you want to drop below regarding who he is and have spark a conversation below, feel more than free to, because this is something that everybody needs to see. Send this to, those who have bigger YouTube channels than me. Let them know, listen, this is what's going on. Because when we find people like this, we have to expose it. That's our job. That's our duty. Okay? These are the kind of people that are amongst us that are not for us. And I'm just keeping it real with you. These are the kind of people that can make that one call on the side of the house and get you shot. Or get you ambushed. Think about that. Think about that hard. When you hear a person telling you that he's texting back and calling the movements of an organization that's there peacefully, come on now. Before they had even occupied the refuge, he was already calling back and reporting back to his people as far as what was going on. Nobody knew that he was there in an official capacity to be an informant. He didn't make himself known as, hey, I'm here to be an informant. You guys let me know what you're doing so I could tell everybody, back at the Capitol building that everything's cool. Of course the conversation didn't go like that. So he was there blending in, and the reports are true. There were embedded informants at the ranch, and he has now been officially exposed. You guys make sure you download my app below. This video here. Make sure you share this far and wide. Make sure you tune into my radio station or to my radio show, the All Rights Matter show on the radio station AnonRadio.live, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Wednesdays, Eastern Standard Time. Listen, download the app, guys. Download the app. That's all I could say. You walk through the instructions below this video. It'll help you out. You get that on your phone. That's all you'll need. But, get this out there, guys. Get this out there. Far and wide. This guy is exposed. Stay alert. Stay alive.